Hey everyone. So I know this video is long overdue. I was supposed to have done this a really long time ago, kind of shortly after I finished posting about Hans-Joachim Marseille on Tumblr. But I guess I didn't get around to it. I didn't manage to get around to it until recently, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna kind of film this. So here we go. As I said, I was in a show, like, as I did post a lot about Hans-Joachim Marseille on Tumblr. You know, I talked about his fiance, I talked about his sister, we talked about his half-brother, you know, and I did share a lot of information that I found about his fiance and his sister and all that. That's all on my Tumblr page. And so I said, you know, as kind of like a way to kind of wrap up my Marseille saga, I guess, because, you know, I do have other aspects of the Third Reich and other personalities of the Third Reich that I am researching. So I was like, you know, as a way to kind of wrap up my research or my posting about Marseille, I would show this some pictures from my copy of this book. It's called Hauptmann, Hans-Joachim Marseille, by this author here. I wouldn't say that this book is I would say that I wouldn't say it's rare, like rare, because you can still kind of get it online, but it is very expensive. This is actually my most expensive book to date. Like, out of all the ones that I have kind of like in my collection of sorts. So yeah, I obviously am not going to be able to get through the entire book. Like, that's just like way too much to get through. So I did tab the pictures that, I mean, I wouldn't say that they matter the most, but like the pictures that are related the most to the topics that I talked about on my page. So like, you know, pictures of his fiance, pictures of his sister, pictures of his family, you know, and things like that. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into this. And one more thing that I want to point out is this author here. So this book was published by Verlag S. Siegfried Publius, and on the Wikipedia page for this publisher, it says that it kind of leans towards the alt-right, you know, so I just want you guys to keep that in mind as we kind of go through this book, that, you know, the way that an alt-right publisher, or an alt-right anyone for that matter, would choose to represent this individual is going to be obviously very skewed. It's going to be very biased. It's going to be kind of aiming to create a specific image of this person, you know, that may not be 100% objective, okay? And I'll explain why as we kind of go through the book, okay? So, first page that I decided to tab was this article where it kind of talks about, for the first time, Hans-Joachim Marseille's physical description. His, you know, a description of his features is described, you know. He was about 1.68 meters tall, so that would make him like, you know, 5 foot something. I mean, if that's like, you know, not very tall. He was very thin, he was very fragile. He had blondish brown hair with like a tinge of red. His eyes were green. He was very pale. His veins shone blue through his skin. And yeah, he loved animals. He always had 1 or 2 dogs. He had 4 budgies, and he had a pony. So yeah, that was, I guess, something that I thought was interesting, because in all the colorized photos of Marseille, it's mostly just like, you know, people making an assumption of what he looked like and then colorizing the photo based off of that. But for this time, this book actually says, no, this is what he actually looked like. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. So, first picture of this book are Hans-Joachim Marseille's parents. This is his dad, Siegfried. This is his mom, Charlotte. So yeah, this next picture here, or these next pictures, are of Hans-Joachim Marseille with his sister. So this first one is of Jochen with his sister in the year 1920. This next picture is of him when he was 4. And down here is when he was 5. And over here is when he was, so I think when he was 6, so because it says 1 year later, in a very modern marine look, or like a marine outfit, which I guess was fashionable, you know, for little kids to wear back in the day. This next picture I thought was really cute. I know this one this was in 1931. This is Hans-Joachim Marseille's stepfather, whose name was Karl Reiter. He was a cop, supposedly. This is his mother, Charlotte. This is Jochen, and this would be his sister. Another shot of the family. This is the stepfather. This is the sister. For the first time, I think this shows his sister, like, in pictures. I don't think there are any other pictures of her other than this one. You can clearly see her face here. This is Charlotte, and this is Marseille in the corner right here. I thought this was really cute when I saw it for the first time. I was like, aw. Okay. He just looks so adorable there. Okay, so this next picture that I wanted to kind of share was this one here of Marseille with his mother and his sister, and the caption here says that Jochen was a very passionate driver. Whenever he had the time, he would take some like excursions into the kind of surroundings of the nearby surroundings of Berlin with his mother and his sister. So this is kind of them on like a car, I guess, outing. So that's that. Let's see, the next picture that, oh, and I just think I missed one more here. I did miss a few, actually. Okay, so here's another one that I wanted to show. I didn't tab this page. So these are some pictures of Marseille as a adolescent person growing up. This was him in 1932, to kind of different grades of school. So this was him in 1932, these two pictures. This was him in 1937. This was him in 1938. And this was him when he graduated. Over here, you can see he's standing right there. And over here is a picture of him with a like a family gathering in 1938 in Bremen, in a bar called Astoria. So from left to right, you've got his aunt Ilse, you've got him, you've got his stepmother, which we know, or I found out through my research that her name was Elizabeth, and this Elizabeth, and she was the mother of Hans Rudolf Marseille. This is Siegfried Marseille, and this is his brother, or Hans-Joachim Marseille's uncle, Walter. Okay, so that's kind of like those members of the family. Okay, I almost forgot that there. Okay, so we went through this one. Let's go to the next picture. This is a letter. I'll turn the thing sideways so y'all can see. This is a letter that Hans-Joachim Marseille wrote to his sister in 25 May 1941. What I thought was kind of cool about this was, as I was trying to read it, you actually see that he actually speaks in English at some point in the letter, and I thought that was so cool. So he writes here, he says, "Oh, you were an English man, I guess." And then it says over here, he keeps going, he says, "Yes, I am." And he's like, "You were the pilot from the Wellington bomber." It's like, "No, the pilot from the Hurricane." And then he kind of like goes on to tell about to tell more of the story to his sister. And so I thought that was kind of cool that, he actually spoke English to an extent. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of interesting. So I figured I would also share that as well. Okay, so, and this is mainly directed towards the people who actually read my Tumblr posts about Hans-Joachim Marseille's fiance and, you know, the psychological aspects behind that relationship. But also just if, you know, you guys can also see that in this book. So this is a picture of, these were pictures that were taken of Marseille in 1941 in Berlin. And I want you guys to pay close attention to just the way he overall looks in these pictures, okay? Because there's a similar picture that's taken of him in the beginning of 1942 that's just like this one, but he looks drastically different afterwards. So pay close attention. And same thing with this one over here. Pay close attention to that one as well. So again, these are the pictures. Another picture of Marseille over here is in 1941. After he was promoted, he is studying for like an exam over here, like a pilot's exam of some sort. So anyways, in this next picture here, let's see, I hope I didn't miss anything important. Okay, so this is a picture of Marseille's letter to his father. This one over here is a picture of his sister, a letter from his sister to one of her friends, talking about like how she said, you know, where is it? My brother Jochen was chosen for the Knight's Cross, or was, you know, recommended to get a Knight's Cross, and he's shot 5 Tommies down in one day. So that was that. Let's just see here. Okay, now I want to kind of show this. This was a pamphlet that was given to all of the Afrika Corps, most likely including Marseille, just a way to kind of tell them, you know, to show them how to, how to interact with the Arab population there. Obviously, they were in Libya, and, you know, they had to learn how to talk to or communicate enough to the Bedouins there in the desert so they could get around and get what they needed and everything, right? I think, yeah, I just thought it was kind of cool that they actually showed that, because, you know, I'd always been wondering, you know, how did they get around, how did they communicate with the population there? And I guess now we know. They just kind of taught them some basic Arab phrases, you know, stuff about how to say please, how to say water, how to say bread, how to say food, how to say thank you, how to say you want to get back to your people, how to say that you are how to identify yourself, how to say hello, how to reply to a greeting, how to say goodbye, things like that. Okay, so this next picture here that I'm going to show, that's just that. This next picture here that I want to kind of show is of, let's see, of Marseille before he kind of went home. So these are some other shots of Marseille as well. These are all very common. They're on the internet. We've seen them before. So now this chapter, it says vacation at home from 28 February 1942 to 14 April 1942. What this book does not mention, even in the timeline, you know, if there is a timeline in the beginning here of Marseille's life, So everything here, so all of the main kind of like life events that kind of happened to him, you know, he got engaged, things like that. What this book does not mention here is that it does not mention the death of his sister at all. So for all intents and purposes, if someone were to just read through this book, they would just think to themselves, like, you know, like, okay, let me just get back to the page that I wanted to share. They would just think, like, you know, like, you know, oh, she's still alive or something, but which is false, because around this time, I think in December 1941, Hans-Joachim Marseille's sister died, and that was like a huge emotional, like, a thing for him, like a really big emotional loss that he suffered, because he loved his sister very much, and, you know, she had died under very mysterious circumstances, and I did talk about those circumstances and possible explainings for them in my, you know, on my Tumblr page. So if you're interested in kind of reading about my research in that respect, you should definitely check that out. But it does not mention this at all, which is why it's so important that when we look at these pictures here, we kind of analyze them in the context of, okay, he's just suffered a huge loss in his life. So these are some pictures of him in kind of like the when he met the kind of like the Italian High Command, Aircraft High Command, and he was awarded the Italian Bravery Medal in silver, and he just literally came out of the place where he got his award, and, you know, he's holding that folder over here, and, you know, he's just being all happy and whatnot. He went to Munich, and he was at the Regina Hotel, and this is him at the hotel. This is him at the Regina bar with some friends. Obviously he's got, on the left here is his fiancée. I did talk about this picture on my blog, and I was like, you know, he literally has no problem hanging out with other women in the presence of his fiancée over here. So that was just something, I did go into more detail about that, so if that's something you're interested in, definitely check that out. It's on my page. But yeah, and honestly, she doesn't look too happy about it either. But this next picture over here, and shortly afterwards, she's not even there anymore. It's just him and whoever else decides to come to the table. It's in the Regina bar. Now, it's this picture that I wanted you guys to also pay attention to, okay? And like when you compare it with, and I'm just gonna set this like this. Okay, so here, when you compare the two pictures, when you compare this picture and the way he looks here to this picture and the way he looks here, it's just like, I feel like it's just two different people, you know, just two different versions of Marseille. And, you know, I showed this too, as a matter of fact. I mean, I know, so my parents don't really know anything about history, but I did show this to my mom, actually. I was just like, you know, can you compare these two photos and tell me, you know, what you think and everything? And she was like, you know, he looks like something really bad has happened to him in this picture. He looks like he's just seen like something really horrible, like just, I mean, I don't know. He just looks completely like so old and so aged in this picture. And to think that was this previous picture was taken just 1 year apart. And so, again, this book doesn't mention that his sister died, but we know that it was around this time that he had recently just lost his sister. So that's just another thing that I think that I kind of thought was interesting. So again, these are some other pictures of Marseille. This one here I wanted to show because it says that he was allegedly wearing the sandals of his sister. This is so that he was allegedly wearing the sandals. These belonged to his sister, and these do come up again later on in the book. In the end, and I'll show that later. But there is a close-up picture of these sandals that these used to belong to his sister, and I think he is also wearing them in this picture here too. He's also wearing them there. Okay, and so now we move on to everyone's favorite. I said I would show these on my Tumblr blog for follower gratification, and here we are. Another one. Marseille sleeping here. He's sleeping. Let's take a look here. Okay, this is another one of him just being Marseille and just hanging out. He was always ready to have fun. That was how they knew his friends kind of knew him. He was just always such a positive and upbeat person. Yet and again, another follower gratification. Everyone's favorite. Okay. So now we come to the, let's see. We come to this chapter here, that this is the final, or he didn't know it obviously, but this was the final leave for him that he would have from June 19th to August 22nd. And so we're just going to go through that page by page. This is one of the planes that was used to transport, I guess, the soldiers back and forth to their leaves and whatnot. And this was one of the planes that Marseille would have gotten on to go back to Germany. This is Marseille looking out the window with one of his friends. That's Marseille. This is probably some guy that's like looking over his shoulder with him. This is Marseille sitting on the plane reading. He's got a magazine called Signal. This is a picture of Marseille on the plane as well. He's got like a cookie or something in his hand. He's just sitting there. This is Marseille at the Berlin Hauptbahnhof. The Berlin Tempelhof. This is him, I believe, waiting by the train tracks. This is also Marseille. With his dogs. He's got 2 dogs with him. I don't know how they got them to the train, but they're there. Okay. This is Marseille meeting Adolf Hitler. Here we go. There's a page loose, oh no, it's not. Okay. This is another couple other shots of him with Hitler. This is him talking with Hitler. This is him walking with Hitler. He was also invited to test out some planes. It says here, Marseille, he's getting into the machine, like Einsteigen, he's getting in, but, you know, I used to say, like, when I saw it, I was like, if you were to just look at it without any context, like, you literally can't tell, is he getting in the plane, or is he getting out of the plane? I don't know, I just thought, like, his feet aren't exactly on the ground, but he's not, like, they're not, like, off the ground either, so it's just, like, kind of in the middle there. I just thought that was funny. This is him signing an autograph for a girl. And now we get to some pictures of him at his house. This is him playing piano. His mother is watching him. This is him showing some things to his mother and his stepfather. This is him drinking tea with his mother. These are some pictures of him with his mother and his fiancée. Again, I don't have to go into detail about these pictures. I already talked a lot about them on my blog. I talked a lot about his fiancée. But for those of you who don't know, or for those of you who aren't following my blog, I'll just go ahead and mention some basic things. Hans-Joachim Marseille's fiancée, Hannelise, she was born in 1914. She was the daughter of an architect. After her father died, she was educated in various boarding schools. In 1939, she married an Argentinian kind of like a music producer who was in Germany at that time. His name was César de Bahar, and they lived in. They were married in like a civil registry in Britain, in Holborn, Britain, actually. And with that marriage, she got the Argentinian citizenship. And she retained that citizenship. Actually, all her German citizenship was only given back to her only in 1943, for reasons that I'll kind of talk about after in a little bit. So what ended up happening was she had a miscarriage, and César de Bahar divorced her. And after the divorce, she continued to kind of train as an actress. She had always wanted to be an actress, so she was training to be an actress. She continued that training. And then in 1942, in March 1942, she met Hans-Joachim Marseille. He was about 5 years younger than her. And it's strongly suggested by the autobiographers of Marseille who mentioned their relationship past the fact that, he married a teacher, or he got engaged to a teacher, my bad, that he got engaged to her because she reminded him of his deceased sister. And I did talk more about that on my page, but that was what the autobiographers strongly suggested. I mean, they didn't explicitly say it, because, we'll never know for sure, obviously, but it was strongly suggested that that was the reason why he got engaged to her. Of all people he could have possibly been engaged to. And so what ended up happening was, after Hans-Joachim Marseille died, his mother allowed Hannelise to move into a summer house that she owned in the city of Bad Saro. And it was there in 1944 that she met a SS music composer named Martin Steffany. And he was about a year younger than her, and they ended up getting married there in December 1944 in a traditional SS ceremony. And then by 1947, Hannelise and Martin Steffany were divorced, and Hannelise was, obviously she had to be denazified, and there was like a trial and everything, and basically that was it. And then she kind of just dropped off the radar until 1967, when she was invited to the fighter pilots reunion in Fürstenfeldbruck, along with Marseille's mother. And yeah, that's basically all that I was able to kind of find out about her. And so I just thought that I would give kind of like a just a brief description of her life and who she was, because this information is not mentioned at all in any of the books about Hans-Joachim Marseille. It just says that he was engaged to a teacher named Hannelise, and that's it. It just never talks about who this woman was. And so I just thought I would kind of bridge that gap and kind of, because this kind of information should be more commonplace, Anyways, so again, if you guys want more detailed information, it's on the blog. You could just give it a follow and just, look through the posts. And I did write extensively about his fiancée and about their relationship and everything. And so if that's something that interests you, definitely give that a look. So this is more pictures of Marseille. This is him drinking alcohol at home. This is him talking with a friend of the family. This is an signed postcard of Hans-Joachim Marseille to his friend Fritz Detman. It says, Fritz, my most honorable and best friend. That's what it says. And then it's signed Jochen, Berlin, 1942. And then this is a painting that was made of Hans-Joachim Marseille, oil painting. This is Marseille with Fritz Detman, and I believe this is the manager of the Deutschen Verlag in Berlin during a visit with Marseille and Fritz Detman in 1942. This is Marseille. We all know this picture. He's talking to the Hitler Youth about his time in the Luftwaffe. This is him signing one of the kids' books. He wrote to him, "Do not turn back, always look forward, your Marseille." Now, these are again some pictures of Marseille when he went to Bad Sarah with Hannah-Lisa and some friends. This is Marseille and Hannah-Lisa. This is Marseille, Hannah-Lisa, and another girl. This is Marseille and two other, I guess, people that he was on vacation with. This is Marseille with Fritz Detman when he went to see the actress Hilda Weissner in Groß Schönefeld in Berlin. It doesn't show it, but Hannah-Lisa was also with him during this visit. This was, and other pictures of this outing were shown in an interview with Marseille's younger half-brother, Hans-Rudolf Marseille, and he did show that there were pictures of Hannah-Lisa sitting with Hilda Weissner, and I believe it was her husband, or perhaps Fritz Detman, I'm not sure, and this kid right here in Marseille. So the kid, so yes, she was with him during this outing, but the book doesn't include, the author didn't include that picture. I believe these pictures were also taken during that outing. The surroundings are very similar. This is Hans-Joachim and Hannah-Lisa on a seesaw. This is Marseille playing tennis at the Blau-Weiß Club in Berlin. This is Marseille. Right here, you can barely see him, but he's there with some people that were also playing tennis, I guess. This is him in the Berlin Spandau train station. He's smoking a cigarette with some friends. This is him with another friend of his. This is Jochen and Hannah-Lisa. The caption says, "A kiss in honor can never be turned away, Jochen with Hannah-Lisa." So again, I know I did say this on the blog post, but during his interview, Hans-Rudolf Marseille was asked to describe an anecdote, or to describe like a story that would properly illustrate the relationship between Jochen and Hannah-Lisa. And the story he gave was this. Of all the stories he could have told, he told this one. Basically what happened was when Marseille was told by Benito Mussolini to come to Rome to get the Italian Bravery Medal in gold, he went to the train station. And so Hannah-Lisa was with him, and she said goodbye to him. And all of a sudden, Jochen grabbed her by the arm and said, "Hey, why don't you come with me," and everything. So she said, and he pulled her onto the train. And she said, "No, I can't," and everything, I don't have anything, I've got nothing at all. And so what ended up happening was, there was the Italian ambassador to Germany. His name was Alfieri, and Hans Rudolf Marseille couldn't really remember whether it was himself or his wife who said no, who kind of overheard the exchange, and they were like, no, don't worry, you come with him, we will get everything ready. So then when Annalisa went to the compartment, everything was there, the soap, the toothbrush, the nightgown, etc. And so that was how she ended up going to Rome, and afterwards she and Marseille went on vacation in Ostia. So that was Hans Rudolf Marseille's best story that depicted the relationship between his half-brother and his fiancée. So I'll let that kind of speak for itself. I did say a lot about that on my page, but I'll just kind of leave that story there. Okay, this is Marseille when he went to like a hunting lodge with some friends. This is also Marseille during that time. This is him with Annalisa. The caption says, for the bodily health, his bride or his fiancée Annalisa takes care of that, as is shown here. So basically she's preparing the food, And over here, another picture of him and Annalisa with everybody else. And then, this was just him on some more official duties, I guess. This is him looking at the, kind of visiting the Hitler Youth. This is him with Willy Messerschmitt testing out the planes. And this is him when he went to Rome, when he went to Ostia after getting the Bravery Medal in gold. He was hanging out with members of the German embassy there in Rome. So again, this is Marseille. This is also him again. This is Annalisa right here, Marseille, Annalisa, and then the members of the embassy. This is them here as well. This is them here as well. FYI, this isn't her hair. This is like a strap with like fur on it or something, and Marseille is like, oh, fake beard. So no, this is not her hair. Just for those of you, because I know someone did say that, and I was like, no, that's not it. That's not her hair. So just putting that out there. That's not her hair. These are some other pictures of Marseille and his fiancée. This is her, this is Marseille, this is some other lady, and this is them together. Kind of, I guess, getting ready to leave or something. This is Marseille's Bravery Medal in gold. This is Marseille and his fiancée, and with other film stars and other kind of movie directors. This is Annalisa, this is Marseille, and these are just the actresses and the producers and whatnot when they went to a film studio in Rome. So yeah. So that is basically that. That's mostly that. I just want to skip straight to the picture. This was supposedly the last pictures of Marseille that were taken when he was alive. So this was the night before he died. He is writing on the typewriter. It doesn't say, in some books it actually says that he's writing a letter to his fiancée in this picture, but that's just most likely an assumption because it never says anything about who he's writing the letter to in this. And this author actually got a lot of these photos straight from Hans Rudolf Marseille's Marseille family albums. So it's the family album of Marseille's half-brother. So he would be the most reliable authority of that. And if that was true, then it would have been mentioned here. So no, he is not writing to her in this thing. So now we get to his accident, or the crash, the fatal crash. This is Marseille's coffin in the tent, draped with the Nazi flag. This is the honor guard that's guarding Marseille's body. These are the sandals that it says, his sandals. that belonged to his sister, as well as his gloves. So these are the. I'll just take this tab off here so that y'all can see. These are his sandals. These were the sandals. So yeah, this was his death. This was his death register, his death certificate. The death person is not married. He died in North Africa. He was born in 1919 in Berlin, Charlottenburg. Yeah. And these are his medals. These are Marseille's medals. These are taken from, I believe, Hans Rudolf Marseille's collection. This is his Africa armband, and these are all just his kind of awards. This one, I think this picture actually made me really sad. It's this picture right here. This is Charlotte Marseille. Sorry. During her one and only visit to Marseille, to her son's grave. You know, after this visit, she never really went to the grave again. And I just think it's really sad how, you know, in the span of, I guess, not even 1 year, first she lost her daughter, and, you know, then she kind of lost her son, and, you know, I think it was just, you know, it's just so much for one person to handle. And I guess, you know, I guess just seeing her like that, the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, like that's just like, you know, like that's just so sad. But yeah, that's basically her in 1955 in front of her son's sand-colored sarcophagus with the number 4133. So that's that. This is Charlotte Marseille in, I think, in the late 1950s, 1957, with the actor Joachim Hansen. And Joachim Hansen was the actor who played Hans-Joachim Marseille in the 1957 film Der Stern von Afrika. He was the guy who played Hans-Joachim Marseille, and you can see that here. Hans-Joachim Marseille is, and he's kind of playing Marseille here. He's got the scarf. He was 26 years old when he was playing this role, but he's in an ME 109 playing Marseille. Marianne Koch was the one who played his fiancée Hannelisa. She was the one who played Hannelisa's role, and Joachim Hansen was the one who played Marseille. So that's that. And this is, these are some, just take a look here. These are some pictures of the International Fighter Pilots Reunion in Furstenfeldbruck in 1967. This is Adolf Galland, actually, pushing the wheelchair of Marseille's mother, Charlotte Marseille. This is I believe this was an American or a British pilot, and he is greeting Marseille's mother, Charlotte Reuter Marseille. There is one, I think, a few more pictures that I did want to show that I did miss here, though. No. Did I miss them or did I not? I'm not entirely sure. No, okay. My bad. Well, so that is Hans Joachim Marseille's mother at the 1967 reunion in Fürstenfeldbruck. And this, last but not least, is Hans-Joachim Marseille's Batman. In Matthew, his name, they called him Matthias, but his real name was Matthew P. Latulu in 1984, and he was invited to attend this kind of ceremony, and he said that he actually gave a statement. He spoke like a eulogy in German at that time, and he said, Hauptmann Marseille was a good man. He was someone who was very friendly. He was someone who was always willing to lend a hand, and he was very, very good to me. So that was what he kind of said in German. So I kind of want to end with by showing the Marseille Castern, and this was in Appen in 1994. This is still here today. This is Luftwaffe barracks that were named after Marseille. However, there are plans, or so, if the Wikipedia page is anything to go by, there are plans to change the name of this memorial. I think Ursula von der Leyen wants to change the name to, I guess, to honor some other important person. I believe it's the victim of kind of like a hijacking, the pilot of a hijacking that happened, I think, like a terrorist hijacking, I'm not sure, but they do want to change the name. As of now, it hasn't been changed, but there were plans, or I think there are plans to change it. So, yeah, I guess that kind of, that's just sort of that. I just want to end by showing this last picture here. This is an altar that was set up in Hans-Joachim Marseille's family's house to honor their kind of fallen son. And this is the picture of him. They've got these candles, and they've got all these, like, relics of his, just kind of everywhere. So yeah, that is basically most of the pictures, or the most important pictures, or the ones that I guess were relevant to what I posted on Tumblr of this book. It is a really good book. If anyone would love to, I mean, obviously, if you want any specific pictures from it, don't hesitate to kind of let me know, and like kind of let me know which pictures you would want specifically to see. There are a lot more, obviously, than what I showed, but this is just like the ones, again, that I thought were, most relevant to what I posted about Marseille. But yeah, with this, that basically just concludes my Marseille saga. I guess I will be moving on now to like posting about other aspects of my research. So, again, I really do hope that this video was, I guess, beneficial, not just to the people that are studying Marseille through my blog, but also anyone who would have wanted to get an insight into what this book, what kind of, media this book has to offer. I know before I got it, I was desperately wishing that someone would have, made an online version of it, or like showed some pictures from it, instead of having to go out and buy it. So, hopefully I've kind of, met that need for anyone out there who, can't get the book, or, would have wanted to see some of the rare photos in it. So, yeah, and yeah, that's basically that.